What is up, everybody? Shadow Ninja here, and welcome back to RageQuit. Today, we have another RageQuit review. I just got back from seeing the new Bumblebee movie, part of the Transformers franchise, and I'm just going to give my initial spoiler-free thoughts on the movie. Now we're going to go into this movie just with overall picture. Okay, so basically this movie takes place way before Transformers 1. It actually takes place right after the fall of Cybertron, where all the Autobots, more specifically, say to each other, okay, yeah, Cybertron's falling, so we need to find a way to get off the planet, and we need to find a home base, and we need to secure that home base and protect it, so that when the Decepticons start looking around for us, they won't be able to find us, because if they do, they're going to bring an army, and that army is just going to decimate us. Since we've seen that in Transformers 1, 2, and 3, that the Decepticons do come back and find the Autobots on planet Earth, we assume that everything in this movie is going to lead up to Transformers 1. And it does that, in fact, and it does it very nicely. It covers up a lot of the plot holes that were made from the Michael Bay movies. Now, don't get me wrong, I thought that the Michael Bay movies, the first three, were pretty good, but as soon as they started bringing in new actors and new concepts, such as Age of Extinction and The Last Night, when they started bringing in the whole Unicron thing, they killed Megatron off for the third time in a row, made him Galvatron or whatever, just in a really weird way. That's when the franchise started falling downhill. Now, a new director has taken on this Bumblebee project, and they have gone way back in time, and now they seem to be rewriting the canon a little bit. Some things are different. Some things that happened in this original canon have been changed for the sake of staying true to the original Transformers franchise, such as the Autobots and Decepticons in this movie are all G1 characters. We start the movie off. This is kind of a spoiler, but everybody knows this. The first segment of the entire Bumblebee movie is set on Cybertron during the last final moments of Cybertron's life and the final stand that the Autobots have against the Decepticons, and everybody's in G1 form, as opposed to the Michael Bay movie, where everybody on planet Cybertron was just like these weird golem-looking creatures, and nobody really liked those because they completely did away with the old classic G1 approach and just had them just be like weird alien robots, which they are alien robots, but made them weird golem-looking guys, and it just didn't quite get through to fans as well as it should have. It also gives us the origin of, also minor little spoiler, just skip ahead if you don't want to hear this, but it also gives the origin as to why Bumblebee doesn't talk, and it actually gives us a very good reason, because everybody's been wondering why Bumblebee doesn't talk. In animated shows and stuff that we watch and stuff, there are different origins as to why Bumblebee doesn't talk, and it's kind of become this stigma with Bumblebee now, that he just doesn't talk for some reason, when in the old comics and the old cartoons he did talk quite a lot, and he was kind of annoying about it, which is why I think that they took that and they made it so that Bumblebee doesn't talk. He's like this silent warrior now, because if they did make him talk, then he would be pretty annoying. But he did talk a little bit in this movie in the first beginning, before he had something happen to him that would make him not talk anymore. And he wasn't annoying. He was just very, just how he was in Transformers 1. And I think he also talked in The Last Night, I think, were the only two times in the Michael Bay franchise where he ever talked. And sometimes it was inconsistent, like he would talk sometimes for just no reason, and then other times he would stay completely silent when something was being addressed towards him, even though he literally talked like 30 minutes before. It was really inconsistent, but now we have a clean and concise reason why Bumblebee doesn't talk, and I think that it was done really well. But anyway, let's get into the bulk of the movie. The first segment was absolutely great, the Cybertron sequence. It reminds me of Fall of Cybertron and War for Cybertron, two video games that I grew up with and I played and I absolutely loved, because it just took the idea of the Transformers having their last stand on Cybertron before Cybertron ultimately dies and they're forced to just get out. And they did that really well. The graphics and the CGI in the movie as a whole were just fantastic. The Transformers, the Autobots, and Decepticons alike, they all looked really good. They all stayed true to their G1, and yeah, that's all I can really say about it. They just looked really good, and the voice actors for certain Transformers that appear in the movie, certain original characters, they sounded awesome. They sounded like they belonged with that character. I'm hoping that maybe in the future we could have like maybe an all Cybertron movie, or maybe just like an Optimus Prime not origin story, but kind of like what happens to him, how he gets to Earth, because like I said, it kind of rewrites the canon, and certain characters are in the movie that aren't in the Transformers 1 movie, and it just is kind of all jumbled up. But I'm just speculating that maybe that'll get patched up later, because this movie tries to patch up a lot of the things that happened with Bumblebee. Yeah, so we basically just got the whole gist of the story. Bumblebee is sent to Earth to scout for the Autobots. He gets down to Earth, he meets some humans, he has some human allies, and then we know from the trailers and everything that the two Decepticons, triple changers, which I thought was really, really cool that they added triple changers, they come down to Earth and they trick the humans into thinking that Bumblebee is this fugitive and that he's a criminal, a war criminal, and that if the humans help those two Decepticons find him, they will just leave the planet, they'll leave him alone, and they'll just go about their business. We know that the Decepticons are lying because literally their names are Decepticons, Deceptive Cons. I mean, even a joke was said about that. Like, what do you really think we should trust them? Their names are Decepticons. Like, but that's kind of also a little cool thing how they kind of took into account that like these guys don't look right, they don't act right, but we're gonna trust them anyway because they put on a good show and everything like that. But anyway, that's the whole gist of the movie. That's the whole story. But the acting, the CGI, the music, the suspense when the suspense was needed, the humor when it was needed, the action when it was needed. There was never really a dull moment in the whole movie. There was a lot of character development, and it was really cool how they took different themes and they placed them in at different times to kind of, so that at the end of the movie, you're sitting there and like, oh, okay, so that got resolved, that got resolved, that got resolved. It kind of all meshes together, and it's a really good ending. The ending, as I said just before, was really good too, and it kind of links up with the first movie, kind of doesn't. Like I said, they change a couple things here and there so that it's familiar, but it's not 100% that, you know what I mean? But yeah, like I said, I thought the humor was good, the jokes were funny, the CGI was awesome. It wasn't like the Michael Bay films when Bumblebee is fighting Decepticons and stuff like that. It's not just like looking at explosions just go off randomly every 5 minutes, just explosions everywhere, like in The Last Night and Age of Extinction, where multiple Transformers were fighting at the same time, and you just look at, from a sky point of view, and everything's just going on, and it's just like a mess, and you can't really concentrate on one thing, and if you concentrate on one thing, you'll miss another. It wasn't like that. It was just very clean. The combat was very clean. You saw the two characters fight, and then you saw what happened. You saw every little detail, and the fighting was actually pretty badass. This movie does go to show that Bumblebee as a character is a really badass fighter. We've seen him fight multiple enemies in the Michael Bay franchise, and he's always pulling some sort of trick out of his ass, and he's always, saving himself at the last minute, and they stayed very, very true to that here. But that is my initial thoughts on the movie. The movie was great, in my opinion. I walked into the movie thinking, okay, maybe this isn't going to be as good as I think it is, but the movie reviews are really good, so I can only just sit here and watch. And I was instantly greeted with an opening sequence of Cybertron, very reminiscent of the Fall of Cybertron and War for Cybertron video games, and I really enjoyed that. And then everything that happened after, the character development, the music, the jokes, the sentimental moments, the tension, everything like that, and also like the Bumblebee developing as a character himself, because he does develop a little bit. In the beginning, he's like kind of shy, but at the end, he's like battling like a true warrior, and it's so badass to see, because the people who designed the CGI and designed the models and made them fight, whoever did that, they did an excellent job. The fight choreography was on point, and this movie kind of takes me back to the first Transformers movie, because the first Transformers movie was very similar to this. Sure, it didn't have the G1, it didn't have, as much of a lighthearted tone as this movie does, but it does remind me of way, way, way back in the day when we first meet this character and we first realize what the hell is going on, and that human to Cybertronian link that is displayed in both of these movies. They actually did their homework, and they went in and they made a really good movie. But for my final rating, I'm going to give Bumblebee an 8.5 out of 10. Now, this rating doesn't really mean anything in terms of like Rotten Tomatoes or something like that. It really doesn't count towards anything. It's just my opinion. But if you guys are watching this video and you haven't seen the movie yet and you're wondering, okay, I got burned by the last couple of Transformers movie and I don't want to go in and waste my money and waste my time, should I watch this? You should absolutely go watch this, not because you may be a Bumblebee fan, but because it's very, very true to the Transformers franchise as a whole. There's a lot of Easter eggs in the movie that calls back to the original, and it's just a really cool and fun experience to sit there and watch the origin story, or the before of what happened to Transformers 1 / the origin story of Bumblebee and all that stuff. It also kind of reminds me of the Han Solo movie. It's not like an origin story like that, but it definitely takes things and it explains why certain things are the way they are. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching this unscripted review, and if you did like the video, make sure you press a like on it, share it with your friends, do whatever you want with the video. Just make sure you support it in any way if you feel inclined to, and press the subscribe tab on the side and the bell on the side so that you never miss a single Rage Quit video. But anyways, guys, as I said before, thank you for watching, and as always, I will see you on the next one.